Footsteps meet on hardwood floors, laughter spilling from the doors. Different tongues but hearts the same, learning life beyond the name. At the International English Cafe, talk your troubles right away, sip your tea and stories play. At the International English Cafe.
Hi everyone, welcome to another session of the International English Cafe meeting. My name is Thanh. I'm your host for this meeting, and for today's meeting, our topic is new goals. Today is Friday evening in the Western Hemisphere, which is Saturday morning in the Eastern Hemisphere. So this topic will be a little bit more on a slightly higher level, but should be okay for everybody to be able to tackle with, let's just say. More specifically, we'll go over what is considered SMART goals. So SMART goals are broken down by an acronym where S stands for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, and T for time-bound. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over first a video which will help explain what a SMART goal is. This portion of the call will be paused in terms of the recording, so that we don't have any weird copyrights. We'll jump back to the recording again, and then from there, this will be the part where the members pick up and start talking about their goals in terms of a SMART format. Hi, welcome back. We just got back from watching the video regarding SMART goals. So hopefully this will help this will then provide the members kind of more clarity about what SMART goals are. I did provide an article prior to this meeting so that in case anybody did want to prepare, they can go or peruse through what SMART goals are. Actually, I might need to change this because this article says achievable, but the video more specifically said actionable. I'll just put both. So that we can at least talk to both of those. Okay. So with this, would anybody like to talk about a goal, or like to talk about their goal and be able to break it down within the format of SMART? Would you like me to go first just to give an example, just in case?
Yeah. It's gonna be good.
So for me, so I wrote down a few just so that I have something to talk to, right? So, and then I think I might even need to revise some of this because in terms of the A part, which is achievable / actionable, I think it entails a little bit more depth to that. But in any case, so I'll just pick one of them. So for my goal, this will be a work-related goal, is to facilitate a team to improve upon their deliverables. So in terms of my work, I am an analyst in financial reporting. And what I do is I support engineering teams in terms of translating their financial data, or basically connect, it's a bridge with their engineering information and financial data to explain what's going on, right? So there's a certain particular format in which these deliverables would then be sent to the customer. So they're aware of the situation and can see what they need to do for their financial decisions, right? So specifically, this is a work-related goal. deliverable. I can't exactly say what it is out loud, but I'm just going to call it a deliverable, right? So in terms of its measurability, this is a monthly, the cadence of this work is monthly. So this one particular deliverable is broken into 4 parts. In terms of being able to improve upon this, the way to measure it would be in terms of time and in terms of the number of parts that make up this one deliverable. I think technically what I wrote here is breaking down with the deliverable being broken down into 4 parts. The first part I'm going to spend 5 months to help the team to improve upon. Parts 2 and 3, I'll do 3 months apiece, and then the last deliverable will spend to do that within 1 month. So that should help break it out in terms of like doing this within the year. So technically what I wrote here should actually be more for actionable, but we'll just leave it here for the time being. Because what I wrote here, these deliverables are actionable as part of my deliverables, or my own deliverables. I think that's a little bit more generic. So technically I should be using what I wrote here for measurable. But actually, just copy it over. Nonetheless, it's relevant because this relates back to my work, and work to me is a priority because it's a way to sustain my way of living. And at the same time, too, I do find personal enjoyment in this because I like this marrying of engineering and finance together. So I do find quite an interest in that. And in terms of having this time bound, I'm intending this to be done within the year. So this is my breakdown of my goal. Okay, so hopefully that provides a little bit of clarity of what you guys would need to do to talk about your goals and then being able to break it down. Does anybody have any particular thoughts or comments?
Okay, can I go?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can go ahead.
As you know, I started learning English at the end of 2024. So at the beginning of 2025, I set the goal to become a fluent English speaker. Even though I'm not quite there yet, but I think I have done the hard part of the work because right now I'm able to have a normal conversation smoothly. And for this year, I'm intending to set out a goal to become a content creator in English, like to provide some tips how to learn English. In fact, I have 2 goals in mind. The first one is to become a creator, content creator, and the second is to learn Turkish because Turkish is a language that I really want to speak one day. So this is my 2 goals for this year. I have already started learning Turkish. Um, a few weeks ago, I started it, and now I'm building the foundation. You cannot learn a language without building the foundation. So this is what I'm doing right now, and I'm hoping to get this done by the end of this year too, like I set out to do last year for my English journey.
That's awesome. So in what way would you, I guess, measure how the progress of your goal?
Well, in terms of language learning, I have learned English by myself.
Mhm.
I didn't have any mentor, so I don't know how I managed it, but I did it anyway. So I cannot quite explain what I did, but I know the key is to be consistent and not dwell on unnecessary things. You know, when you are learning, you don't have to dwell on things that doesn't bring you anything. So that a little bit how I approach language learning.
Would it be
In
fair
terms of
so would it be fair to say that like you spend a particular amount of time
yes, of
doing
course,
this? Yeah.
yes, I spend like when because I go to work from Monday to Friday, but
Mhm.
every time I get home, I spend at least 2 hours on work on my English. You know, I listen to podcasts, I prepare, I read, and I watch some videos on YouTube. That's what I do, even with my Turkish courses right now. This is my uh, way of learning things, you know. So I don't really know how to explain it properly, but you got the idea.
Yeah, because one way to think about it, it would be like the amount of time that you intend to spend on this, right? And that um, you can start to see improvement throughout.
Yeah.
So in this case, like if let's say you spend 2 hours a day or a week um, practicing, right? And from there you can start to feel the sense of progress. Um,
Yes.
other
Yes.
ways to try to measure this, because since it's a language, right? The
Yeah.
video said that, you know, foreign language, like learning a foreign language may be vague, but to me, um, you can break down a language by what, for example, the four skills, right?
Mhm.
Speaking, listening,
Yeah.
reading, writing, right?
Yeah.
So there's kind of a sense of progress in terms of
Yeah.
what you do for the four skills, right?
Yes.
So there's one aspect where maybe it's like the amount of vocabulary to learn in a day. It could be being able to understand certain sets of grammar, since
Yes.
for most languages, there's like shared commonality with, you know, grammar, right? So like being able to define what's a noun versus what's a verb and what's an adjective, things like that. So you can have some of that under your belt and then be able to create sentence structures. There's quite a bit you could do in terms of the language aspect. So let's say breakdown of language and measure for progress, um, i.e., number number of vocabs per, something like that, right? So at least you have something that gives you some sort of way to be able to measure, right? So
Yeah.
this could be like obviously there's more to it, right? But this is like at least one example of what you could be doing, right? And that like you could actually feel this sense of progress because there's, you know, you're going through some number of vocabs a day, right? But this would just be like one part of it, because obviously once we get to the actionable part, this is like the how you do it, right? So that part will be then, you know, what kind of things what you would be doing, right? So like learning vocabs, practicing grammar, or spending a certain amount of time speaking, or spending a certain amount of time reading and writing and things like that.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time reading. I can say that I read more than I speak English, to be honest.
Nice.
I don't really practice my English speaking skill that much,
Hmm.
but I read a lot and I write a lot. When I'm listening to something, like whether it's a podcast or someone's on YouTube, I take notes. This is how I measure my improvement in terms of writing and listening. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
But as you know, this is the English group that I participate in meeting the most. I'm not that active on Zoom meetings, so my way of learning is not like how many people do. I
Mhm.
do things like what really suits me. You know, I don't do things like everybody else.
Yeah, and that's fair enough, right? And
Yeah.
that's the point because it's your goal. So however it fits you, that should be best. Obviously, it should provide you somewhat of a challenge, but as so long as it fits you, right? That's the most important part.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then I think that talks to the relevance of it because, in a sense, this is basically for you. It's kind of like skill building in a sense, slash enrichment. Um, this is like generalized term, but like I think there's more specifics that you can go into this, right? But
Yeah.
that's kind of the idea of like you learning another language in this case, Turkish.
Yes. Yes.
Very nice, very nice. Cool. Um, is there any other particular comments or like remarks that you would also like to add? Um, did you want to like go over to like regarding like your content or being a content creator and like what you want to go, how you want to go about that?
How I'm gonna go about content creation. I don't really. I'm right now. I'm like I don't really have all the accessories for doing the content creation activity, but
Hmm.
I'm working on it. I haven't started yet, but it's on my goal list. You know, on my to-do list. I mean, on my to-do list. So I got to buy the microphone, and my laptop is I is not working right now. So I need
Yeah.
to get it fixed and start my work. So I can't really elaborate on that before getting all the things done.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Once you get up and running with that and let's say like you make a TikTok account or something like that, then like let me know. I want to follow you.
Of course. Okay, no problem.
Cool beans. All right. So hopefully this helps everybody with kind of like an idea of like how we'd be able to break this down, right? And then you have something to talk to. Um, would anybody else like to go next? Isan, I don't know if I
Oh,
pronounced your name correctly, but like, how do you pronounce your name?
yeah, you pronounce correctly, Isan. You can
Nice.
pronounce the H or not, Isan.
Cool. Welcome to the
Uh,
call. So what would
Thank
your
you.
goal be?
Lately, I try to achieve over a band minimal 7 of IELTS, but it's hard for me because I'm working and I only spend uh, night time to studying. So yeah, I spend Monday to Friday to learn, especially in the Sunday. In the Monday, I learn listening, and in the Tuesday, I learn normally writing. But I only focus on task one, not two task two, because I wish that with the I can achieve minimal 6 or 7, and then I continue to learn the talks too. And in the Wednesday, I focus on reading because and for speaking, honestly, there is no particular day because as long as I have free time and I can join a speaking group in the another day and one of these. But normally in Monday to Wednesday, I focus on speaking. I focus on listening, writing, and reading. But talking about my progress, I only achieve maximum band 6. It's quite hard because I have I have been learning IELTS maybe 1.5 years ago, but the result is not like my goals.
That's fair enough. It sounds pretty difficult, especially because in terms of this, you might not be aware of what particular areas that you need to focus on, right? Which then, if you were to be able to focus on those particular areas, then that might actually help you improve. So far from how you're speaking, I think you're doing pretty well, which is why you're able to get at least a 6, right? So the next part will be, what other areas can you work on in order to help you get to that 7, or maybe an 8 or a 9, right? So that'll be the more of the interesting part. So let's see. In terms of so question would be, why are you studying for the IELTS? Is there a particular reason?
I want to continue my study, and IELTS one of the regulation or the document, because to achieve the international university, I should have the IELTS.
I
And
see.
the minimal score is 6.5 till 7, or maybe more for the world universities.
Yep. And that's completely relevant, right? So when are you looking to, I guess, apply to, or or at least go to university, or maybe even like, when are you looking to take your next IELTS test?
I have a plan to take it on March or April, but due to my score, I afraid to take it because of my capability and because of the cost of the real test.
Okay. In terms of that time-bound aspect of it, I can understand that. It's when you're lacking in confidence, then it makes you feel like there's a sense of instability in terms of having a firm date. But nonetheless, I think this is not too bad as a goal. In terms of IELTS Band 7, so the thing, I'm not an IELTS trainer, but I've talked to IELTS trainers before. One of their things that they suggest is, when you do this breakdown, I'll share screen of this, right? Because it's basically this. So when you go down, like, this is the IELTS. Actually, I'll copy this and I'll paste it into the chat for you. But the idea is that there's a part, let's see. Is it this? No. Right? So you're listening, reading, writing, speaking. So when you click on the speaking tab, there's these 4 parts that they're looking for: fluency, coherence, lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. Pronunciation is just how you pronounce the word, which then flows into fluency and coherence, because when you pronounce the words well enough, then from there, if you speak and have a sense of fluidity in terms of how you're speaking, then basically makes you need to just make it sound like you're flowing really well, right? And that the coherence part is like, is it understandable? Can the trainer or can the proctor understand what you're saying, right? The harder two parts that will then help you get to the band 7 that I would say to focus more on would be lexical resources and grammatical range. Grammatical range is kind of a difficult part, I would say, just because the in depending on whatever your native language is, how to deal with like tenses, right? Past, present, future tense, and then all the other different tenses afterwards, like what's past perfect, past or present perfect, and future perfect, and then future, present continuous, future continuous, like all those, right? When you can have a kind of an idea of how to master that, that will get you to a grammatical range. Plus, in terms of sentence structures, being able to build longer sentences. So how to use a conjunction to connect two ideas, or at least two phrases or two words, so that it lengthens what you're saying. And at the same time, like when it comes to a speaking trick, you want to break down what you say into little parts. So let's say you have a long sentence. You can just take that long sentence, break it down into little parts, have little pauses, right? Because the attention span of people tend to be pretty short. So if you're able to break things down into smaller parts, you allow the other person to listen and understand, so that they have this little nugget of time that they can have their brain process everything, right? And then they can understand. So these are some other tricks. Lastly, lexical resources is not just vocabulary, right? Like when you get to a mastery of a language, you'll start to find that you'll be able to speak not literally, right? So when you look at literature, for example, there's going to be certain things that are not literally meant what it is said. Like, for example, like it's raining cats and dogs. It's not literally going to rain cats and dogs, right? It just means that it's raining very heavily. But that would be an example, right? So, and that's what is called an idiom. So shortcut method would be learning a lot of idioms, right? But you'll start to find that this extends further into that. It's like, what is how to speak with the use of metaphors and similes. Those are also helpful as well. So when you can start to practice on areas like that, and then be able to get better at that, you'll start to see that your ability to communicate will be much better. Especially too, most languages have these type of literary devices, right? You have like what is a metaphor in your own native language, what is a simile, what is alliteration, what is an onomatopoeia. You have your own idioms, right? Things of that nature. So understanding it just in that kind of aspect, and then be able to at least apply the same concept to English, then it kind of helps with studying English that way. So lots of times, instead of using this big word to say something, you can use an idiom to say the same thing, because an idiom are just more easy to understand words, but just you're using it to communicate the same thing, right? And sometimes that's a little bit more better to express things, because it's a little bit more easy to listen to for the ears than saying some sort of big word that's like, what was that word? I don't know what that big word is, right? So hopefully that's some ideas to give you, so that you have like particular areas to focus on. I know I'm going off tangent on this, but it's going into more of this idea of actionable, right? So in terms of a band 7, I would say focus more on lexical sources and grammatical range. And I think that will actually help you a lot. From what I heard in terms of how you speak, you pronounce words pretty well, and you seem pretty fluent and coherent, right? So what else is there that you need to build upon? Maybe these two areas might help you out.
Wow, impressive. Thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not sure what is my weakness, but sometimes I thought that in the speaking, I have no capability to coherent and cohesion because this aspect sometimes really tricky because with the question from the IELTS, sometimes I didn't respond correctly. So it's not coherent. And yeah, of course, I have an issue with the lexical resources and the grammar, but with the coherence, of course, too.
Okay. And just right there, right? You're adding more to what you need to do, and you have that self-awareness of that, right? Improving upon coherence, I guess, through more exposure in speaking groups. I guess that would be one way to kind of tackle that, right? Because the end goal of learning any language is so that you can either communicate in that language or at least understand or maybe even teach someone that language, right? So one way to practice is if you have like other people to practice with. And so that extensive exposure then can test your ability in terms of test yourself in terms of your coherence, and from there you can see how you can improve, right? Maybe it's a particular person that you talk to and that you can get along pretty well, and that it makes it easy for you to improve upon your coherence. Or maybe there's someone that's very difficult for you to understand, and by listening to them long enough, then you start to then be able to understand them and then get better. Like, who knows? But we don't have an exact action of what you need to do, but at least you have a general idea of what you should be doing. So that then helps you to then work towards your goal, because at least you have an idea of what you need to do. But good. Like, see, so like you even pointed out something about yourself too. Nice. Very nice job. Okay.
Thank you so much for your advice. It's a great advice. I wish I can improve it and then achieve my goals. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Cool beans. Okay, so would anybody like to go next?
Yes, me.
Okay. Juan, go ahead. Take it away.
Okay, and try to understand or try to make the table. Okay, thank for example, and make this way specific. My goal in this year and try to the 6 months put one photography the naked model in one exposition in Paris. I have the team, for example, and try to define the team. For example, one assistant, I like the photography. The tools, I have the tools. I try to define the model and make one competition in the model, the Paris. And I have the I don't know say, but good art, good fire, good art, many things, no? But I'm trying to define this model and try to the pretty model, no?
Yes.
and it's my specific. I don't know if it's correct or not, but and measurable. Yeah, I think this goal and try to make in 6 months, and in 6 months try to have my team, and in this time I think the 1 month try to the check magazines, the models naked, the real models naked, find the light and find the objectives and cameras. Okay, measurable. Achievable. My objective is realistic, and the last year I put the four photographies in one exposition in Paris, but the difference is these photographies make use the artificial intelligence. It's different, no? In this occasion, I try to take the photographs the one person. This is the difference, and use my creativity in these photographies, no? I don't know, and relevant. It's very important for me.
Because it's your work.
Yes, it's very important for me, and it's my work. And in my life, not put one photography, the real model, in this exposition. I have others photographies, but use the artificial intelligence, and it's different, no? Yeah. It's different in the one photography. They use the real light. They use the one person. The expression is different, and it's very important for me, no? In relevant, okay. Y el time bound, I think is 6 months. 6 months. 6 months for what? For in 6 months make one exposition in Paris, in choose the 1 month before, choose the photographies. I don't know if this is correct. My smart.
Yeah, this is a good start. So certain let's see. So in terms of your goal, like being specific, right? Like I put down like you're trying to build a photography team. Does that sound about right, or is it something a little bit different than that?
And for example, in a specific, maybe it's important try to the choose in this part and the model, or maybe is the option.
Well, so like what, because like, so choosing a model, right? That would be an example of an action that you would be doing, right? You're choosing your assistant, you're choosing the model, right? But then what are you setting out to do? Like it's like it seems like you're wanting to take pictures, obviously, but what is the goal? Like, is it pictures for magazines, pictures for
No, for example, you make one photography, and good photography, you make send, or I'm sorry, buy this photography.
So like you're basically having photographs that you can sell.
Yes.
Okay, so basically photography.
But the problem is the competition. The photographers, for example, the Paris. I have photographies very spectacular. The photographs, and the model. It's important, no? Yes. The model. It's important. The health in your body.
Well, sure. So that would be the actions that you be taking, right? Because, like how to find people to fill the roles. So an example would be a model, right? But then there's going to be lots of smaller parts.
Yes, it's important. It is important. This place that you take the photographs. It's very important. And for example, in specific, I think it's important you find the model for make one relation, no? And the moment they take the photographs, it's more easy make one connection in the model. This is my question. You believe it's important to find the model in the first step in specific?
Well, so this would be like steps. So like the achievable slash actionable part, right? That will be kind of like the process of what you would be doing. So step one, find a model with these particular attributes. Step two, prep the model to be able to be ready for the photo shoot, be able to have all your equipment, have everybody in place, the assistants doing all their job to put everything together to support, have background scenery, things of that nature. Is it outside? Is it inside? Is it during the day? Is it during the night? Things of that nature, right? So
Yes.
that will be the actionable part, right? So looks like you have a good focus on what you need to do. So you at least have an idea. So from the sound of it, you have the process of what you're doing, right?
Maybe you believe it's important put the model maybe in the meeting in the team. I'm sorry.
You could like you could have side meetings where you have the model and then you have meetings without the model, right? Like there's lots of ways you can approach this.
Okay.
Yeah. So that will fall upon the actionable part, right? So that's kind of how that would go.
Okay. But in the other point, for example, in the measurable,
Yeah, the measurable part.
maybe it's important put I don't know, for example, 1 month make this, and other month try to talk to the model, or
So technically that would be more of a kind of an actionable thing, right? Because this is the process, right? So here's the timeline. So in this week or this month, you're doing this week, and this month you're doing that next thing, so on and so forth, right? Measurable will be like, how do you measure your success? So in this case, like, let's say you are able to do all this, right? So how do you know that you succeeded? Like, what is your goal that you're looking for? Like, say, like, so in terms of this is photography for sale. Like, you're going to sell these pictures. So let's say, like, do you intend to make like $1 billion?
No, but
No, but you get the idea, right? Or like maybe you can start off as like, okay, well, this is like the first time really going into this. So so this is kind of like, because this is like a business, right? So you would then you have like an idea of like target revenue slash profits, right? So that would be something that you would want to consider.
Maybe put the target in specific is correct. Maybe, for example, the exhibition and the money.
Yeah.
What is the cost? The money.
Yeah.
These things. You believe this?
Because, for example, right, revenue is basically all the money that comes in, right? But then afterwards, you have the operating costs. So the operating costs would be like, okay, how much do you have to pay the models? How much you have to pay your assistants? How much you have to pay for equipment, right? Those are your operating costs. And then when you subtract all that stuff, then whatever's left over is your profit, right? So that's
Okay.
kind of like, you know, business accounting at that point.
And these things I'm put in a specific.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So like the way, like in this case, your way to measure your success is, you know, whatever you set as your target revenue, target profit, right? Um, that would be kind of like how you want to go about it. Um, Things that you could look into would be like have awareness of operating.
For
Of,
example, in measurable, it's put the one time use for rebel the photographies
well,
or not.
remember what the video said, right? Like when you make your goal, it's not static. It's not going to be
Uh-huh.
just that's it, right? It's dynamic, right? So you can change your goals along the way. So let's say, like in terms of this aspect of it, like for measurability, uh, you start off saying like, oh, like 10,000 pesos, right, for your
Mm-hmm.
profit, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're going pretty well. So it's like, okay, now you change your target for that. So it's like, all right, 20,000 pesos. You know, like 100,000 pesos, right? Like
Yeah.
1 million pesos. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
So like this is something where that you can have it as a moving target.
Yeah.
At least you can give yourself kind of at least a realistic idea based off of like what you know the potential operating costs would be, right? So let's say you hire a model, you hire assistants, you hire all these other people related to the job, and you buy all the equipment, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
equipment, if you were to just, you know, if you don't have the equipment already, then you have to buy more, which then you have a price tag. So you actually would know how much it would relatively cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the personnel, you look at like, okay, how much do you pay them per day, per week, right? And then you extend the timeline, right? So like how many months? So you said 6 months, so that's about, you know, 26 weeks, right? So ideally, there's going to be certain people you pay the full 26 weeks. Some people you might pay like part of the 26 weeks. You know, who knows, right? And then like, so you can have like they're going to be working for like so many amount of pesos per hour or pesos per day or pesos per week, right?
Yes.
And then you can calculate overall within that 6 months how much it might cost, right? And then so when you put all those costs together, that's your overall operating cost. So there's a way for you to at least know how much it will cost you so that it will again give you an idea of like what your target revenue should be so that you make a profit. So this is just you know, accounting overall.
For example, in you say the in measurable. For example, my objective is try to put in the exhibition in Paris, no? But I have one friend, and the other day tell me the not make the photographs the naked. In one time, buy one photography. Maybe is this friend interested in this photography, no? And buy this photography.
Hmm.
Change the objective or change the goal.
Yeah.
No, maybe it's important put in the measurable.
Well, the measurability is that if it's photography for sale, then money would be the way to measure it. And it's just up to you, like what your target would be and things like that, right? You mentioned for exhibition. Oh, okay, take care, Isan. So when it comes to the exhibition side of things, that'll be a little bit different because then how you measure that might be different. Like it could be like how many people attend your exhibition, right? And then you have to go into your ability to market, right? Like how do you do your marketing? How do you spread it out? And then to be able to then grab enough target audience to want to come to your exhibition. And then the way to measure it would be the number of people attending your exhibition, right?
In my first exhibition, the naked models, I
Yep.
lose 3 photographies.
Okay, so like you mean two to like 3 photographers or 3
No,
photographs?
3 photographies. I lose the other people take my photographs.
Okay.
I don't know, robbery my photographs.
Oh, yeah, like
3,
this theft of content. Yes.
yes.
So
Okay,
sometimes that might happen too, yeah. And that's why like what your friend suggested might not actually be a bad idea.
okay.
Yeah. But because overall, right? Like just notice how we talk, like how I kind of like noted things down together, right? If it's photography for sale, then how you measure it is by money. And the money part is whatever you want to determine. You know, you don't have to give an exact amount, but
Yeah,
but that's your measurement system, right? And then from there, like what you need to do, like you already know what you need to do. You already was listing them out and you were going into details. So, you know, you have a good idea of what you need to do. Is it relevant? Well, yeah, because it's part of your work slash life, right? So, you know, you're basically tied to it, and then you have a time frame of 6 months. So, so overall, at least just from this much, you have a good idea of what you need to do for your goal. The more specific thing, or the exact process of what you're doing and and in your target goal would be the thing that you need to set for yourself. But otherwise, like you have an overall idea what you need to do. See?
yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty good. Like, you know, just put it like how this is all put together.
Yeah, and this is interesting. This way to try to make your goals.
Yeah, because it's a little bit more organized. Like
Yeah,
you have an understanding is like, okay, this is the sets of things you need to do. This is how you measure like what your success will be, and then you just need to determine what would be considered successful, right? You know, this is what you're doing in particular. You already know what the time is, and relevancy is just, you know, because this is your part of your work in life.
yes, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Thank you, thanks.
you're welcome. If you like, go ahead, take it away.
Okay, thank you. And I think I'm not much to talk to my small goals, but I have a little my small goals for myself and for my children as well, and including for my family, finance. And I talk myself first that about we study English. I have to I have to clarify my long journey so far, because I think I'm studying English and it take my long time, but I'm not feeling my English speaking very well. But I would say that I never give up my journey. I think it can contribute, you know, a little bit day by day to drive my development better on tomorrow. And that I recognize I don't want to set my short term or long term my goal, but I am keeping my habit that I can participate any room and any organization. I think that create my chance to practice and improve my speaking English. And that I would say I'm not set my long-term or short-term goal for myself. And I want to keep my habit, as much as I can to participate to any organization I have. Another one that I would say to myself, I think is also relevant to my kid, because I know exactly my kid future, they have to achieve something for themselves, because actually I don't want they will fail, for themselves future, that I expect they will achieve something for themselves to take care of themselves and not depend to family or burden to family as well. And that I have to prepare my finance to take care of them, because I know exactly not only 4 or 5 years after in the university, and after that, if they want to upgrade their education higher, that I should provide for them to enough finance they can continue for study as well. So that I have been setting my goal in long term, short term, and long term for them. And I work preparing, 4 years for them to study in the university, because I don't want they will kind of propel during study in the university. I love they will finish, at university level, and then they can upgrade higher, or they can achieve a master degree for themselves. Because I know exactly the university level education very common in my country, because I guess that 95% the children, they can get the university level. That I think is very normal,
So
and it's not any specific for themselves to.
let's go over this, right? Because in terms of a goal, right? This is not a small goal. This is very broad, right? You're not being very specific, and because you're not being specific, what you think is a small goal is actually a lot bigger, right? So, for example, right, like to help with your child's future, that's not small. That's like maybe at least 18 years of your life, or even more, right? So that's very long term, right? So
Yes.
so the first thing to talk about here is that this is not something that's very specific. And because it's not specific, I think this is why you might find difficulty, because there's certain things that you're not looking at, right? It's not to say that, don't do this, right? Because this would be what would be considered more towards relevant, right? So this column, right, relevant, so if you think about a goal in terms of that would help your child's future, the relevancy part is because this will then help your child's future. You see? So it's not that you don't really have a goal. I would say that choose one, at least, because there's going to be a lot of things you need to do. So pick one of those things, right? But overall, the relevancy, it would be, is for your family's, children's future, right? And that makes perfect sense because, you know, as a member of the family, this is, you know, one part of your duty in order to help your family grow, right? Ways of doing it, financial responsibility. So that makes sense because, you know, like how to ensure that they have financial resources so that they can then go on to, say, university and things of that nature. But there's more to it than just financial responsibility, right? There would be things like moral, like upbringing, morals, values from family applicable to life. See, things like that, right? Because one other aspect in terms of helping your child to have a future is to teach them certain morals and values that comes from you and or your family, things that are very important that will then help them survive in life, right? How to be a good person, for example, or say like how to be clever or be aware of dangerous situations and things like that, right? You know, knowing who would be good people to interact with versus who are not so good people, things of that nature, right? Like being able to have finance is one thing, but I think Matt, one of your strong points is that you are someone that have, you know, pretty good morals, right? You have pretty good values. These are things that you could teach your like these are, I mean, definitely I'm pretty sure you're teaching your kids this, but this is part of the, you know, the process of what you need to do, right? Because them learning from you, then they can grow up and then be able to succeed. See? So that would be an example of like what's the actionable part. I would say that you'd want to think about at least one thing more particular, right? Like, so in this case, it's like, I guess, supporting your child to get into a good university. Now, this is because I remember hearing you say this. So I think this is out of all the things that you said, this might be a little bit more specific, right? So I think this would be a good idea of what would be considered like a specific goal, right? So now you actually have a particular thing that you're working towards, right? It's not just any vague idea, like you want your child to go into a good university, right? So other things to consider would be like searching for a good university. Even that would be part of what you need to do, right? Because not all universities are going to be good universities, right? So you need to do your shopping, your window shopping to see what would be a good university. How to measure this, I think that's the hard part, because like it could just be like your child's grades in primary, middle, high school, right? That might be one way to distinguish that, because the better their grades are, then like the better their chance that they can get into a good university, right? So how well they're studying, right? other academic accolades. Actually, I think it's 2 C's, not 1 C. I'm specifically using the word accolades because I think this is a good vocabulary word.
Wow. What?
So an accolade is basically like your achievement. So for example, let's say like you have like 10 gold medals in your academic studies, right? For five gold medals for 5 different courses when you were in your 3rd year of high school, and 5 more gold medals in 5 different subjects in your senior year in high school, right? Something like that. Because those things look good in terms of how to get into a good university, right? Those are the kind of things that universities would look into, right? Aside from just your child having very good grades, they would need to do other things to show off that, that this is why the university should pick them, you see? So does this kind of make sense a little bit more now of what you need to do, of what a goal is for you, right? Because like being specific, you want your child to be in a good university. So ways to measure that is making sure, or like is your child's grade. So the higher your child's grade is, then the better chance that they get into a good university. So things that you would need to do would be making sure that you have enough financial resources so that they can study well. And at the same time, being able to, raise them well, right? So,
Wow.
actually, I should ensure they study X hours per day, right? Something like that, right? And then it's relevant because you want to ensure your family's future, or your children's future, and this would be like 18 plus years of their lives. See, time bound. Like this is obviously it's a much more longer time frame compared to other people's goals, but this is realistic nonetheless, right? Like within 18 years, you basically raised your child to become an adult and to then be able to be ready for a good university. You see?
Yes.
Yeah. So all the things that you were saying basically makes up the ingredients for this. The main part will just be then to put everything in its to organize all the things that you said into its proper place. And now you have a little bit more of a proper idea of how to achieve this goal, right? Like obviously most of this is intuitive, right? But by organizing it this way, it's nice to then have it broken down so that so you have a more realistic vision of what you're doing. So like I said, this is definitely not a small goal. This is a much more bigger goal. But nonetheless, I think this is a very good goal.
Yes, absolutely, because you walk different between the world and kind of in Vietnam country, and also Vietnamese mother, foreign. They take care for their children, and they can kind of effort as much as they can for their children, to their children's future, to achieve success. Yeah, that Vietnamese born, they will take that responsible and do everything for the child, and that one different completely. And I myself also doing with that way exactly the same. Because I'm not only myself to take that responsible for society, for community, but I think my kid for themselves also doing the same way as well. They have to do, and they have to aware how they can contribute, for the country, for the community, and they have to
Well, how did he
overcome,
know that?
yeah, the bad situation
But
in the
wait,
future.
how did he know that?
Because I always talk with them
There
about
you
that.
go.
Yes,
See?
yeah,
Exactly. There you go. See?
yeah,
And that will be part of your action, right? That's the actionable part. See? So you see what I'm saying? Like, so you have an idea of like the things that you need to do and everything like that. It's just um, you basically thought that like your goal was just to support your child's future, right? But that's more of like the relevancy of what you're doing, right? Not necessarily your goal. Your goal more specific, like one, because you don't have one goal, right? You have multiple goals, but at least one of your goals is to get your child into a good university, right? So, and it's relevant because that will then help support their future. So this is kind of like how like a smart goal would work, right? So like when you put things in its proper place and how you organize it, then it helps you have a better idea of what you need to do, right? So now you can see that like, okay, how do you measure how well they're doing? Well, you need to check their grades. Now, it's very intuitive that that's what you're going to be doing anyways, right? But it's to be able to realistically put them together so that like it kind of clicks as like, oh, this is how I succeeded, right? Like it's not just like, oh, like I don't know how I succeed. Like now you actually have an idea of like how this would be successful. And that's why being able to organize it like this helps, because when you have an idea of how you succeed, then you can achieve your goal. Otherwise, if you don't know how you succeed, how are you going to ever achieve your goal if you don't know how you succeed? Right? If you don't know what's at the end, what is at the end of that maze, then you're never going to get out of that maze. You're going to be stuck there. So this is how when you break it all down like this, it helps you brings you a kind of perspective so that you have an idea what you need to do and then how to get there. But by far though, I think that's a pretty interesting one. Nice.
Yeah, you're right.
So overall, I think this is basically it for today's meeting. Most people have dropped off because they need to leave early, but that's fine because this is overall decent meeting. Just getting through all this and being able to help work everybody out with what their specific goals are, right? So overall, this is a pretty good job. Hopefully, for those that missed out, they can watch the video and then we be able to catch more of how to put together a SMART goal and being able to be inspired by what we did here in this meeting. So, Juan, since you're the only one left, would you have anything that you want to comment on or to talk about or to ask before we end the meeting?
Yes, it's very interesting, Tang, and try to applicate in my work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the method, this way to try to make your goals. It's very important for me, and try to use definitely. Yeah.
That's good to hear. Because, one of the difficulties for yours is like, how do you measure it? But from your friend's suggestion, right? If it's photography for sale, then, money would be your measurement. So like at least that's a way to know how to measure it. Just now you need just do it.
Yes, and try to the applicate your tips and try to use. This is my objective. You put this photography.
Yeah.
Use real person and try to in this moment take your feelings the model. It's hard. For me it's very hard, but I'll try to.
All we can do is just do our best.
Yeah. Yes, thanks. An interesting class. Yes, it's very interesting.
Yep.
For me.
So yep, overall I think that's it for the class part. Is there anything else that you wanna delve into or you want to talk about?
No, thank you, Tang. And try to in this moment try to applicate this way and put and word in my work.
Sounds good. Okay, so if anything, I think I can call meeting adjourned, right? And from there, we'll see each other next month.
Yes. Thank you, Tang, for your class.
Yep, anytime. All right.
Thank you.
So with that, take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Words collide like fiddles hum, every accent's welcome some. Round the table, dreams are shared, across the world and love is aired. At the International English Cafe, talk your troubles right away, sip your tea, let stories play. At the International English Cafe, we don't need no passport stamp, just a cozy corner lamp. Face to face we find a way, in a little cafe day after day. Maps and charts might trace the globe, but here we spin our own wardrobe. Patchwork lives with thread we weave, stories told when you believe. At the International English Cafe, words align like fiddles hum. At the International English Cafe, words collide like fiddles hum, every accent's welcome some. Round a table, dreams are shared, across the world and love is aired. Our love is aired, across the world and love is aired. Across the world and love is aired. English Cafe, we don't need no passport stamp, just a cozy corner lamp. Face to face we find a way, in a little cafe day after day. Maps and charts might trace the globe, but here we spin our own wardrobe. Here's your face, we find the way, in a little cafe day after day after day. Maps and charts might trace the globe, but here we spin our own wardrobe. But here we spin our own wardrobe. But here we spin our own wardrobe. Patchwork little cafe day. Hey, accent charts might trace the globe. We don't need no passport stamp, just a cozy corner lamp. Face to face we find the way, in a little cafe day after day. globe, but here we spin our own wardrobe. But here we spin our own wardrobe. Patchwork lives with thread we weave.